Good afternoon, I'm Denise Tan, and this is One News Now. Makati is accusing Taguig of forcibly taking over structures covered by the Supreme Court's ruling on the two cities' long-standing territorial dispute. In a statement, the Makati LGU claimed that Taguig's enforcers started with several public school buildings in different Embo barangays. Makati called Taguig's move as an act of duplicity and bad faith. But Taguig City denied Makati's accusation, saying that this is another desperate attempt to mislead the public. The Taguig LGU added that such pronouncements only aim to sow fear and uncertainty among residents of affected barangays. Meantime, Taguig Mayor Lani Cayetano is calling for cooperation and understanding as several Makati areas are transferred to her city. This morning, Cayetano visited the Makati Science High School for the kickoff of the Brigada Escuela. The mayor acknowledged that Makati residents may have a hard time accepting the Supreme Court decision that named Taguig as the rightful owner of the Bonifacio Global City and other areas near it. Some residents hope that the Taguig government will give them the same benefits they've been receiving from the Makati government, like free school supplies and medical assistance. China is offering talks on possible joint patrols and other sit-downs with the Philippines on matters pertaining to the disputed waters. But Manila has other immediate plans to do not involve friendlier relationships or relations with Beijing. JC Cosico has this report.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines said the country will resist should China resort to forcefully removing the BRP Sierra Madre stationed at the Ayungin Shoal. This comes after the China Coast Guard used water cannons against Philippine vessels going to Ayungin Shoal for a resupply mission at the BRP Sierra Madre last week.
Of course, we will resist.
That is very speculative.
But if it does happen, maritime law expert Attorney J. Batumbakal said there are rules of engagement to consider.
Meron ding mga standards, yung mga responses, no? Yung tinatawag nating proportionality, no? At saka reasonability. Para din, number one, ma-control agad yung incident, no? Yung events. At maklaro din ano yung, kumbaga, maaring patunguhan nun.
For now, the AFP is planning another resupply mission to Ayungin. The Philippine Coast Guard, for its part, said it's ready to provide more vessels to escort the AFP. The military is now urging China to stand down and consider the impact of their actions.
China Coast Guard should behave. They should not resort to actions that are hostile because all the consequences that will arise from their singular hostile act will be blamed to them and to those above them.
Meantime, amid the ongoing tension between China and the Philippines, a political analyst finds the idea of a joint patrol ridiculous.
It's really quite funny, no? Kasi parang the problem with China, I think, is like they always employ this gray zone tactics. You cannot talk peace and have a gun. It's really hard for us to have this joint patrol with China. I think it's better that we explore it with other countries.
With that said, the country is already ironing out the details of joint patrol operations with the United States. The National Security Council said there remains some logistical issues, but they hope to start a joint patrols in the West Philippine Sea by year-end. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
If it were up to the majority of Filipinos, the tug-of-war in the West Philippine Sea should be resolved through diplomatic means. A recent survey by the Octa Research Group showed that 70% of adult Filipinos are in favor of peaceful methods to settle the dispute. On the other hand, 65% of the respondents believe that the Marcos administration should use military action to assert the country's territorial rights. In the same survey, 19% wanted to just shelve the dispute, while 61% agreed to modernize the capability of the Philippine military. The Octa poll was conducted from July 22 to 26, or a week before the Chinese Coast Guard fired water cannons at their Filipino counterparts in the Ayungin Shoal. The Philippines has filed dozens of diplomatic protests over China's aggression in the disputed waters. Now it's time to take a quick break. One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Denise Tan. One industry group calls out dredging activities still going on despite President Bongbong Marcos's order to suspend all reclamation projects in Manila Bay. Pambansang lakas ng kilusang Mamalakaya or Pilipinas or Pamalakaya claimed that they spotted a dredging vessel on Sunday off the shores of Rosario, Noveleta, Tanza, and Naik in Cavite. Pamalakaya alleged that these activities were intended for the Manila waterfront reclamation and the Bulacan Aerotropolis project. All 22 Manila Bay reclamation projects have been put on hold, pending the Environment Department's review of their compliance with the environmental regulations. Moving on to another story, at least 93 people are now confirmed dead following the wildfires that scorched Maui in Hawaii. Authorities can't say for certain yet exactly how many Filipinos are affected by the tragedy. Philippine Consul General in Honolulu, Emil Fernandez, said some 1,000 people are still missing. Foreign Affairs official will visit Maui in the coming days to determine the impact of the wildfires on Filipinos there.
Hard to say because they have no such figures, no? Kung ano yung citizenship nito mga to, saan sila galing. So the figures are quite general, and we've requested for them, but they have no way of determining them.
Meanwhile, Pinoy entrepreneur Kit Zulueta Furukawa said that majority of people in Lahaina are Filipinos. Lahaina is one of the areas hardest hit by the wildfires. Multiple organizations have joined forces to help Filipino communities in Hawaii who are in need of immediate provisions.
It's hard to ask for money, but we need it right now. Folks need to eat. Food and water, medicine, clothes, hygiene products, just basic necessities like that. For even for mental health, we have kids that are stranded, just toys and things like that to lighten up their spirits a little bit.
We now give you a quick look at today's other top stories. Don't forget to pack an umbrella. The Southwest Monsoon is seen to bring rains over several parts of the country. Pag-asa says the Bicol region and Palawan will experience cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. It will be the same weather conditions in Visayas, the Zamboanga Peninsula, northern Mindanao, and Caraga. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country will see partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms today and in the coming days. The Health Department has lifted the vaccine certificate requirement for inbound travelers. This means that all international passengers will be accepted in the country regardless of vaccination status in all airports and seaports. Meanwhile, the vaccination requirements of travelers coming from the Philippines will depend on the protocols of their destinations. Blended learning will be implemented in typhoon-hit and flooded schools come August 28, the first day of the new academic year. President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte assured the repairs are ongoing in affected schools. Vice President Duterte, who's also the Education Secretary, likewise assured that salary increases for both teaching and non-teaching personnel are being studied. One News Now will be back at 3:15. Join us again later. I'm Denise Tan, leaving you with that. The FIBA World Cup starts on August 25, so support Gilas support team Pilipinas. Watch and buy tickets to the biggest sports event of the year and let us root for our team.